friends, and welcome back to another episode of Pause Pod, a podcast where two girls who love film try to yap their way into becoming indie darlings. I'm Danny,
And I'm Kara.
and welcome, guys.
Can I just say, like, I don't know if you guys are watching the YouTube video, Danny looks so beautiful today. And like we've both been so busy. We haven't like had like some time to commune together until we hopped on this call. And I just like sometimes I just like get the giggles. I'm like, my friend's so pretty.
Oh my gosh, I'm
Uh,
blushing. I'm blushing.
someone had to say it. It'd be a crime not
Someone
to
had
say
to.
it.
It would be a crime. And you know what? Honestly, and I've said this so many times this week that it might as well just be my new catchphrase for the fall is that like I wasn't depressed, I just needed curtain bangs. And that's
And
really
that's
it.
really interesting because many say that bangs are a sign of
Of
depression, but they
depression.
lifted you out.
They li- you raised me up. And that's how I felt about my curtain bangs.
Well, I think like a curtain bang, it's a strategic move and
Yeah.
it's quite the tightrope to walk because it could go south quite quickly.
Quite
Mm-hmm.
quickly. But speaking of fall, I've been telling you about all of my fall themed items that I've been having.
Ugh, the like one thing I miss about America is the over consumerism of like everything shoved some pumpkin and cinnamon in it, and what I would
Everything.
give for a Pillsbury sliced sugar cookie with the
The
pumpkin in them.
Halloween,
Ugh.
yup. I'm about to get those immediately for Halloween with my little baby nephew. And you better believe that I will be getting those cookies. Yeah, yes, ma'am.
It's
However,
whimsy on a plate.
it
Hello.
is whimsy on a plate. But what I'm here to tell you to talk about today is this concoction. I'm holding a beveragino to the people who cannot see me. And
And
it's
it's
what I
really in a
was,
Christian Girl fog fall cup.
oh my
Like
gosh,
the
wait, no.
cup that you have is really Christian Girl autumn.
This was part of my pause, actually. And so I'll save most of it until my pause.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I got this as a gift from being an officiant at my friend's wedding. So this is a gift.
We need to talk about it.
We need to talk
Danny
about.
married two people. She legally married two people.
I sure did. I sure did. And stick around and you will hear about it at the end of today's episode. But what I wanted to say about what is in my Christian Girl Fall cup is
It's so perfect.
what I was telling you, which was I haven't tried it yet, so I'm gonna do a live reaction on the pod.
Oh, this is the journalism that we need actually.
But TikTok has been showing me all different types of ways to use apple cider. And I wanted, like,
Mm.
I asked my mom for like a carton of apple cider so that I can make this apple cider syrup for my chai latte. And she brought me like a gallon jug. And I was like, girl, I didn't need
She
that
always
much.
delivers.
I didn't need that much. You delivered. Thank you so much. I didn't need that much. Um, and so I've been trying to use it in a variety of different ways. And on TikTok, the girls were mixing the apple cider with like cream soda. And I was like, honestly, I feel like that would slap. I feel like that would slap. And so today, you
Are we
guys,
finding out now, live on
we are,
air?
we are finding out live here if this is
Give it
good.
a
So
swirl.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, the mic is picking it up.
Oh my God, that's one of the best things I've ever had in my life. Oh my God.
This is really interesting and really important because you currently reside in a place that doesn't get cold for autumn. So to have an
No.
iced beverage that gives you the moment, that gives you the vibes is really important.
So important. Oh my gosh. Girls, if you want a fall beverage, apple cider and some cream soda and get into it.
Get into it. I was gonna say I have a request for the council, and that is that I would like you to mix sweet tea and apple cider to make a fall Arnold Palmer.
Okay. I have to try it with the best and the highest caliber of sweet tea, which is Publix and or Chick-fil-A.
The highest potency on the market.
It's like the Rolls Royces of sweet tea, in my opinion.
Wow. Thanks for sharing your truth.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, in the spirit of fall, I'd also like to share, because I'm so proud of myself. I successfully baked my first pumpkin pie this past week. I had to FaceTime Danny halfway through the process because I lost confidence really suddenly, like right in the middle. But I conquered the science of baking and it was so much fun and it was so lovely. I made it as a birthday cake substitution. And the little golden candles on my cinnamon whipped cream and my pumpkin pie, I felt unstoppable.
I can attest it was very precious and very cute. I did not taste it, but I am positive that it was delicioso.
It was great. And I got a real kick out of serving pumpkin pie to British people because they don't know what it is.
That is
Like, they know what it
hilarious.
is, like, from American TV shows, but
Yeah.
it's not something that's made here or sold here, so they didn't taste it, and there was a little bit of, like, a jump scare, them being like, Pumpkin pie? Pumpkin? As in the gourd?" And I was like, "Don't worry. Don't worry, sweetheart, just take a taste.
It's just like, trust me. Literally
Just
just
trust in
trust me.
me." But anyway, um, Danny, do you wanna tell the people why this is a very special episode that we have prepared today?
Oh my gosh, guys. Um, we are, we are a safe space. We're a safe space. We
Always.
try, we very much try to be a safe space for the girls and whomstever is listening to the pod.
All film is cinema.
All film is in all. We wanted to tackle some, como se dice, film bro lore, like film bro classics, if
Canon.
you will, canon,
Mhm. The film
if
bro
you will.
canon.
And who else is one of the greats of film bro canon other than Martin Scorsese?
Marty!
Marty. And we are here to talk about two of his most, in my opinion, two of his most film broy films, which is Wolf of Wall Street and Taxi Driver.
Yes. I think this is an idea that Danny and I have had for a while of like a fun series that we could do on the pod of exploring the film bro canon or films that, you know, the straight men love, but that are also quite critically acclaimed. And I think that like the slight contrarian in me has avoided some of these films in my film journey
Yeah.
just because they were like shoved down my throat by
Hmm.
every straight male on my college campus. But why am I depriving myself? So I'm really excited. I'm neither of us are new to Scorsese as a director.
No.
He is a legend. He transcends his film bro fanatics. He is a true legend. And so I've seen a few of his films and really, really enjoyed them. But these two in particular, I have avoided in his filmography, like I said, because of the mark of the film bro. So
Mm.
yeah, I had a really, let's say, interesting time diving into these, and Danny and I both have a lot to yap about. So
We
shall
do.
we
We
jump
do
into
indeed.
play with the great white whale that is the Wolf of Wall Street?
I think we should. You know what? I love this film.
Danny is a jock, y'all.
I am a frat boy at heart. I am.
And there it is. And there, yeah, she's not actually. You're, well, I guess you're a jock in that you really enjoy sports, but like you surrounded yourself a lot with the fraternity brothers of this nation in our university career.
Yeah. Some could say that. Some could say that. I am in another life. I just know that I was a frat boy at an SEC school that majored in finance and was trying to explain the stock market to any girl that would listen, if I bought them a drink. And that's me. That's my truth.
Mhm.
That
Mhm.
is what I identify with, and that is how I identified watching this film. I think that this is one of my most enjoyed film bro films. I watched it when it came out and I loved it then. I rewatched it for this pod. I love it now. On the surface, it's very much a like 3-hour bender of money and drugs and sex and money and drugs and sex.
Pause before we move on. You talking about you being a finance bro in another life, you know who I think you are in this film if I had to tag you? You are you're Matthew McConaughey floating in for 5 minutes and defining the entire film's themes with your, with your chants. That's you. And, like, ordering martinis every 7 minutes. That's you.
That's iconic. And that is how I want to be described from now until forever, actually. But no, certain speaking of, certain parts of this film do feel quite like intoxicating. And it's like you're experiencing the high with our main character, Jordan.
Shall we tell the people who Jordan is quickly before we go on?
Yes, do you want to do the summary?
Oh god. Okay. So this film is based on the life of a true person, Jordan Belfort, who rose to wealth and notoriety on Wall Street. He came from humble beginnings and then made it big in the stock market, and it did some batshit crazy shit,
Yeah.
batshit crazy things to succeed. And this film, I would say, is his life story, but also a darkly humorous satire, I'd like to say, about
Mhm.
this culture of wealth and an American fascination with wealth. I will say I'm in this mood lately where I'm just taking everything as satire. I'm like, the world's on fire. It must be commentary.
Mhm. Mhm.
But I do think that this film balances that fine line between romanticization and satire.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was going with this because I feel like a lot of the broy people that really love this film, I it because it feels like very much goals for them, which is kind of the vibe that I got through reading tweets on Twitter when this was like coming out. And maybe I'm making this too deep, or I'm just like you and I think everything is satirical. But I think Scorsese is like actually saying the opposite. Like, I don't think that he is glorifying Jordan's behavior or his criminal activities and blatant debauchery. Like, I think he is making a satirical piece on this exorbitant lifestyle, and he's forcing us to inhabit this world and take note of how utterly ridiculous and like self-destructive it is.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the, like, entire film for me. It marries it mirrors this very essence of American capitalism. It shows how seductive it is, how intoxicating money and power is, and we're all high off of it for, like, a majority of the film, and we're just like watching the luxuries that the worship of wealth and money and power has. And then as the film progresses, we see that high kind of wear off in our main character, and like we kind of see it wear off in ourselves as well. And you start to see the emptiness behind these stacks of money, and we see that it's hollow and it corrupts, and the type of moral deterioration that you have to endure to make it to the top. Yeah, I think in society right now, we're having that conversation about how the top 1% is continuously exploiting the poor and how there are no ethical billionaires. That's a big conversation that's happening
Oh,
right
and thank you
now.
so much for taking it there. It must be taken there because the entire time I was watching this film, because let's admit, I wasn't watching this film when it first came out. So I watched it for the first time now in 2025, and it is so interesting. I mean, as you said, the American ethos has always been the goal is not just wealth, but an excess of wealth. Like, money is the ultimate security, money is the ultimate
Mhm.
weapon in a capitalistic society. But
Yeah.
watching it now, when the protection of wealth and this
Mhm.
desperate, blatant display of protecting the 1% has taken over American politics and the American economy. It's so interesting because Martin Scorsese does such a good job of, like you said, highlighting the ridiculousness of it, but the ridiculousness of the fear and the desperation. Like,
Mhm.
I was so taken aback that, like, the most wealthy people in this film are the most desperate. And yes,
Yeah.
poverty comes from with desperation, but yeah, I mean, a line that really like slapped me in the face when I was watching this film was when Leonardo DiCaprio does these amazing monologues where he's hyping up his employees before the stocks open, and it's it's insane. But he has this line where he says, "There's no nobility in poverty. I've been a poor man and I've been a rich man, and at least when I'm a rich man, I can solve my problems and wear a $3,000 suit while I'm doing it." And it's just, oh,
Mhm.
it's so good because he's saying it with full confidence and bravado, but you take that in and you're like, gosh, like that really is like that's the American mindset. As long
Mhm.
as I have enough money to throw at my problems, I'll survive. Like so like you're saying, like it's
Yeah.
it's crazy and it's ridiculous.
But it's not wrong. Like, time and time again, it's shown in the capitalistic society that we live in, the more money you
Mhm.
have to throw at your problems, the quicker and easy it is for it to disappear.
Yeah.
It is so like, there's so many instances in honestly, maybe in the past year where we can point to a rich person being charged for something, and then they're able to, like, pay their way out of it, you know? So,
Mhm.
I get like, and that goes back to your commentary on desperation because it's like, once you've attained that wealth and that status, and you know what it's like to not have it, hell yeah, I'd be desperate to keep it.
Mhm.
Hell yeah.
Because there's such a gap. There's such a juxtaposition between being
Mhm.
poor and being rich in America, and it's just widening and widening and widening. So of course when you're faced with two extremes, you're gonna go for to desperately claw and fight for the other. But it got me thinking, and I really wanted to ask your opinion about this because as I was watching it, I mean, your Friday Night Lights daddy has a great role in this film. He plays the FBI agent. And it got me thinking about, I mean, it's a timeless American story. For as long as we are a capitalist society, we will be having
Mhm.
a insatiable obsession with wealth and money and how money affects us as human beings. But I
Mhm.
think there's a another type of story, which is that we love to see people cheat the system, right? Cheat the capitalist system and get
Yeah.
ahead and make loads of money and like one up our own capitalist economy. But we also like to see people get caught. Like it's the catch me if you
We do.
can sort of mentality of like we also want to see the checks and balances of the FBI agent catching the criminal. And I wonder why that is. Like, we glorify these kind of get rich quick heroes in these films, and then we like to see them get caught and fall. And is that just to make us feel better that we're not rich, that we want that resolution in the story? Like, why do you think that is?
I I agree with that sentiment. I think it is because, like, once you get to a certain point, you're no longer somebody that we can root for. It's one thing
Ah,
of, like,
yeah.
trying to get this, like, get rich quick and you're, like, in a place where you can finally be comfortable and, like, afford to live, you know what I mean? But taking
Mhm.
this into a way that is more like digestible. I don't know if you've seen it or seen this conversation in social media, but the rise and fall of influencers, and people
Mm.
watch these influencers from when they're like baby influencers, when they're like small creators, and then they watch
Yeah.
them blow up. And the moment that they're deemed unattainable or like not relatable or anything, then a lot of people turn to just like waiting for their downfall, like just
Yeah.
awaiting everything to be taken from them. And again, I think it's a very complex situation and there's a lot of things at play, but I do think it in at its core is like, yes, I want to see people doing well, but sometimes I don't want to see them doing better than me. And now I
Mhm.
feel bad because I'm not rich and I didn't do this. And now I'm
Yeah.
watching this person like live this luxurious life that I would die for. And then seeing it all taken away, it's like, oh, well, now you have to be humbled. Like now you're humbled.
It's just this it's the scarcity mentality of if
Yeah,
someone else is succeeding, then I'm losing.
exactly.
And, the other thing that I really love about this film, going back to, your doppelganger, Matthew McConaughey, at the beginning, is that this sort of, the playbook of Wall Street, like, going off this scarcity mentality, where that scene is Matthew McConaughey talking to baby Leo. I don't know him like that, but I'm gonna call him Leo. He he's teaching him, like, how to
Mhm.
make it on Wall Street, and he talks about the importance of keeping the money fake, like keeping it not real. Like as soon as you make a client money, they're going to want to cash out. They're going to want to pull out their stocks, but you don't let them. Just use their earnings to buy another stock and keep the money in the air, keep the money not real, because then you'll make commission, which is real money, and then you'll keep investing their ethereal fake money into more and more and more stocks, and to keep it as both everything and nothing. This sort of theme of money
Mm,
as everything and nothing, I think, was so beautifully done in the film, because even when Leonardo DiCaprio reaches his pinnacle of wealth, it's almost like he wants to get to this point where money means nothing to him. Like he wants it to be disposable because it's not a scarcity to him anymore. Like he's throwing money
right.
off the boat at the FBI agents, and he's using $100 bill to snort cocaine, and I just think that money functions like that in our society. It is both
Mm,
everything and it's also
and
meaningless.
nothing. Mhm.
And it's just so beautifully done in this film. And I hate to say that, not I hate to say that I liked it. The the film bro contrarian in me hates to say it, but as a Scorsese fan, I thought it was incredibly well done. But speaking of film bros, because they are the theme of this episode, I want to talk about, like, Dana and I both read this film as satire, and I definitely think it's intended
Mhm.
to be satire, but I don't necessarily think it's a film bro favorite because it's satire. It's a film bro
Mm,
favorite because, like Danny eloquently said at the beginning of this conversation, it embodies and personifies the goal of the American male. And when I was doing my research and scouring YouTube for interviews with Martin Scorsese and different footage and behind the scenes things, he gave this interview. It was like on some sort of like PBS or educational channel. Shout out why we should fund public broadcasting. Um, oh, and there it is. But he talked about the importance of visual literacy. He called it visual literacy because growing up, his parents weren't like very academic. There weren't a lot of books in his house, but what he did have was film and TV. And he'd go to the cinema all the time. He was quite a sick child. He went to the cinema all the time, and he would watch movies on like public broadcasting with his family. And he talks about learning how to watch movies, learning not
mm,
just, oh, that made me feel something, but why did it make me feel that way? And having the time and the space, because these were his only sources of entertainment and lives different than his own, he learned how to make movies by watching movies. And I just think, like, in joking around about the film, bro, I think that the real danger, if we want to call it being dramatic, the danger of this film is not the film itself, but the audience.
mm.
And how people watch this film and if
Mhm.
this satire and dark comedy just is completely lost in the process.
Mm. That is such a good point, and I think I think that, and I talk about this a bit in the next film, but I think that Scorsese is really quite good at commenting on male masculinity.
Oh, he's the best. He's the legend at it.
Right, and how it morphs itself into something incredibly toxic and destructive. And Jordan in this film is the face of American capitalism, but he
Mm.
is also the embodiment of male fantasy. And like he has power,
Oh, yeah.
he has wealth, he has women throwing themselves at him, you know, and I what I think might be missed in this film
Mm.
is that men wish to have Jordan's life, but that is not what Scorsese was saying in the film. Like, he was not setting up Jordan's life to be enviable. He was setting it up to be pathetic. Like every success that he has comes at the exploitation of somebody else. All of his relationships are transactional. Everything about him is performative. And what I think is really funny, haha, and funny, weird, is when his first wife confronts him about his infidelity and his narcissistic transformation. The set, like where they're having this argument, is right in front of the Trump Tower.
You are so right. Oh my, and this is what, have a wife who picks up on the visual details. Get you a wife who picks up on these visual details. Wow, yeah. Marty knew. Marty knew what he was doing. Marty knew what he was doing. That location scout, he knew what he was doing.
He knew. He knew. And I knew. And I cannot think of a more perfect setting to tie in the worship of wealth and how it corrupts and destroys people.
Say it again for the people in the back. Say it again for the people in the back.
This is the perfect setting to showcase how the worship of wealth corrupts and destroys people. We're watching it happen to a nation, but I digress. Going back to the film, this film, to me, is about, not completely about, but showcases a moral decay. And I said this before, it's depicted in
Mm.
a 3 hour long drug induced bender, but in the end, quite fittingly, Jordan is barely punished. He loses his wealth, okay, and he loses his wife deservingly, but he still has power, he still has influence, and he was able to buy his way out of prison, which, again, is the most realistic ending.
Yeah, and I think we all know I love to marinate. I need 2 to 3 business days, to really think on a film, and when I initially watched this, I was, like, not mad, but I mean, that's a fine reaction to have. I was a little bit frustrated. Intentionally so by Martin Scorsese. I think I was really frustrated by the ending, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess it's based on a real guy, so like they had to end it like that. But now thinking about it, I'm like, no, that's exactly how it should have ended. For those that don't know, spoiler alert, Jordan Belfort gets arrested by the FBI and goes to prison, but only for like 3 or 4
3 years,
years,
yeah.
and then the last scene is him in one of those kind of like hotel ballroom sales conferences, and he's like teaching people how to be a salesman. And Danny's right, he's still in this position of influence and power, albeit not the peak and not the excess, but he's a white male in America that committed white collar crime, and he went to prison for a few years, that he came out, and now he's being entrusted to mold the minds of other people again. And that actually is paramount to the satire that Scorsese is trying to tell us, even though you're like, why?
Like, there is no other outcome that would have been realistic.
And it's so interesting because in Jordan's, in the character's mind, he probably sees himself as the ultimate American failure of touching
Right.
excess wealth and the top of the capitalist game and then falling. But to the people watching his seminar, he's where they want to be. He's a success. And that's, I guess, the relativity and the toxicity, like you're saying, the moral decay of more is more is more. And we have no concept anymore of what is a normal, comfortable life because all we are being fed is luxury. Like White Lotus and Succession and influencers and PR packaging and just like excess and luxury are being normalized in our society. Therefore, we don't know what we should be satisfied with. Which is another thing I think watching this film today was so crazy because I think even, you know, when it came out in 2013, this was seen as like, whoa, like the crazy, like pinnacle, like his house in the film. And we must say that Margot Robbie slays it in this film. Absolutely slays it. My favorite line is, who, what are you, a fucking owl? She's the best. But even how she's dressed, how she's characterized, like that's not a far cry from the media that is an influx today versus in 2013 when like influencers were still fairly new. I think a definite recommendation from us. Don't let the film bros scare you.
Don't let the film bros scare you. This is
like
great.
We said, it's a wild ride. It's actually insane. Like Danny said, it's a wild 3-hour bender, but like themes and messaging that hold up today. So I guess the bros were right.
The bro certified.
bro certified.
Film girl certified. We give our stamp of approval on this one.
This is where the genders unite.
Us film bros
holding hands, which doesn't often happen.
Does not.
But yeah, but I think so. We chose this film as our first film because it, like I said, is the great white whale of the film bro canon, and it's, I think, one of Martin Scorsese's like his most commercially successful film. I think a film that many people point out and talk about. But the other film we wanted to talk about, we wanted to reach back into rewind back. Gotta keep the branding up. Rewind back into his earlier career and tackle one that was really critically acclaimed. If you sort of start to research Scorsese's career, this film, Taxi Driver, 1976, one of his earliest films, and kind of, I think, the film that cemented him as an indie darling, I'll say, in that time. This film is so critically acclaimed. It was nominated for a slew of Academy Awards. It also won the Palme d'Or at Cannes that year, which Scorsese himself was like, what?
Screaming.
So incredibly critically acclaimed, but watching it in a modern light was really interesting. So let's rewind into Taxi Driver. This film is gorgeous, but it's toughy. It's a toughie. I think what I mean by that is that I really liked this film. I think this is one of the most visually interesting and visually stunning films I've ever watched. The movement of the camera in this film is so intentional and puts you so off kilter. There's so many shots where Scorsese intentionally makes the audience think that one object or one person is the center of the frame, and then it just totally inverts you and throws you off. There's a really famous scene where Robert De Niro, the main character Travis, is speaking on the phone in a hallway on a payphone, and the camera pans away from him onto the hallway, and you think that, oh, somebody's gonna walk down the hallway, the action's gonna go there, but no, you literally just go away from him while he's having quite an emotional conversation, it's like you can't even look at him. Like the camera pans away from him
Mhm.
and then nothing happens in the hallway. So moving the camera, making you think something's gonna happen and then nothing does. And that's kind of thematically in line with the main character. This film follows Robert De Niro's character named Travis, who is a Vietnam War vet. He's only 26, and he finds himself on the outskirts of society in New York City. He can't sleep because of all of his trauma in his life and things that he's going through. So he gets a job as a taxi driver so he can drive around all night and get paid for his insomnia. And this intense loneliness and anonymity in the city leads him to violent fantasy and a deterioration of morality. We'll get into all the controversial parts of this film, but one is that Jodie Foster, who was 12 years old at the time, plays a 12-year-old prostitute in the film, and saving her kind of becomes Travis's answer to the filth and depravity that he's witnessing in the city. And he just, if
Mhm.
he saves her, then he can fix the ugliness and the filth inside of him. And yeah, I think it's a story about loneliness and how that breeds
Yep.
violence. And it's incredibly done, but it's a hard pill to swallow of a
Mhm.
film. I think before we go any further, I do want to tell people that this is a film reflective of mainstream politics and culture of the 70s, and there's some like racist scenes in this film. The N-word is used, the hard R. There's some violence against a black man in this film that's a bit hard to swallow. So as much as I'm applauding what I do think is incredible filmmaking and incredible direction on
Mhm.
Scorsese's parts, like I cannot gloss over those scenes, and people should be warned when watching these films about that
Yes,
scene.
I do also agree.
Yeah, Danny, take it away on your thoughts on this film as well.
Taking. I do agree what you were saying about the filmmaking of it all, of
Mm,
the cinematography of it all, and I think that it kind of forced us into this purgatory-like state that kind of,
yeah, exactly.
yeah, it mirrored and showcased really well his own internal stagnation, and that's really what it was. Like, he was stagnant, he was purposeless, he like, that is a lot of the film, and moving on from how it's shot and going into a bit of the politics of it all, but I do think that this film is a very relevant deep dive into a really prevalent conversation that is happening right now. And I think that Travis is kind of a really perfect case study on a conversation that's happening right now around the male loneliness epidemic.
Take it there. Take it there.
I'm taking it. I'm taking it. And there's no other way to take it. There's no other
We
route that we can
must.
take. Scorsese leads us directly to this very toxic intersection that radicalizes these young men, which is the intersection of isolation, entitlement, and repressed rage.
A deadly cocktail.
Deadly, deadly. And Homeboy is drinking that shit up. Gulp, gulp. But when you look at Travis, he is a man with no real purpose in life. He has no outlet for any type of emotion, healthy or like otherwise. And he has no ability to authentically connect with other people. And when you
Yeah.
see him attempt to connect with somebody romantically, he self-sabotages. And whether it seemed unintentional on his part, he just doesn't know how to connect with people. But
Mhm.
when she does reject him very fairly, because, let me check my notes, he took her to a porn theater on a date. And when this date inevitably fails and she rejects him, his already fragile ego and fragile sense of identity collapses, and it
Yeah.
catapults him into this spiral that we see from him for the rest of the film. And it is this rejection as well as like his contempt for like with the city and believing that it is just like dirty and scummy and just full to the brim of the bottom barrel of society. um it propels him forward in this mission to cleanse the city, and
Yeah.
it starts his transformation into, for lack of a better word, vigilante, like his vigilante era.
He uses all that taxi cab money to buy like 7 guns.
7 guns. He's locked and loaded. He is carrying, packed, okay? And again, like I think that this is a phenomenon that we are seeing in online subcultures of men today, of men like Travis, of men who are radicalized by loneliness, men who are being labeled as incels, and this internalization of rejection and this victim mentality that society is unclean and needs their saving, or these men who take these rejections as moral grievances and violations of themselves, like in their mind, and everything that they do,
Mhm.
every act of violence that they commit after that, they believe is righteous, like they believe it is righteous.
It's so true. The film so beautifully through the voiceover and through these diary entries show that Travis thinks that he's saving the world, essentially. That he's the
Hmm.
only one that sees the filth. He's the only one that can do it. And the genius of Robert De Niro playing this character, like if I read this character on paper, I do not think that I would interpret it as beautifully as Robert De Niro does, because there's an innocence to him that is almost
Hmm.
like unsettling, because you're like, is my instinct to empathize with this man who I know is going to be committing these heinous acts of violence, and
Hmm.
who's going down this dark, dark path, and yet I feel empathy towards him. And that is, I think, an essential part of this conversation, and you so brilliantly bringing up the modern incel culture of how society is laying the groundwork for boys and men to become a Travis. And that
Hmm.
scene where he takes his date to the porn movie theater, like we see before that in the film, that that's a part of his routine. He drives all night. He is driving in the cab all night, working long
Hmm.
hours, and then the first thing he does when he gets off is, okay, my leisure time, I'm just going to go to the porno movie theater and get my popcorn. And it's he's desensitized. That's his normal. And so when he takes Betsy there, the brilliance of that scene is that he's like, oh, so this is what I would do on a Friday night. Like, is this
Yeah.
what? Like, he's so in his own world and desensitized to this porn that you almost feel
Hmm.
bad for him, like he made a faux pas, like he made a little social faux pas. And Betsy is like the rest of us, being like, no, this is fucked, Travis. Like, this is like, what? Like, can you not see? And he toes that line from being
Yeah.
an actual, like, compassionate, at times almost sweet human, and then
Hmm.
the switch is flipped.
As you mentioned earlier, is him becoming obsessed with saving Iris, and this act is so deeply tied to his wounded masculinity and his desperation for his life to have some sort of meaning. Like he is just
It's really
desperate for
sad.
a purpose. Like it is quite sad. And you're watching this and you can see how he got here. And what I will say about this film, much like what I was saying in Wolf of Wall Street, is Scorsese does not attempt at all to moralize or justify Travis's behavior. Like, Scorsese himself in an interview a few times said that, like, that he's not trying to do that at all. And instead he is forcing us to just sit with him. Like, he's just forcing us to
Yeah.
bear witness to this descent and forcing us to feel Travis's paranoia and his impotence and just experience that with him. And I think
Mhm.
that that ties into what we were discussing a little bit in The Wolf of Wall Street, because Travis and Jordan are literally just products of a culture that defines masculinity through the lens of control and possession.
Amen, sister friend.
Like, and I'm not trying to baby them, but like they are products. I mean, it's a product of the patriarchy, and who set that system in place. But they are products none they're products nonetheless, and they are just both so desperate for validation and for power. And again, I could completely wrong with what Scorsese is trying to say or trying to bring light to, or whatever he's trying to do with these films, but I would like to think that Scorsese is holding up this mirror to our society and kind of forcing us to recognize the reflection and forcing us to grapple with that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I think Scorsese's genius and is that you can see all the ingredients of society, how these men
Mhm.
came to be who they are, but his protagonists are not without agency, and his protagonists are not without free will and choice. And
Mhm.
I think that's the beautiful balance of his work, is that you could go and you could say, like, if this and this and that happened in somebody's life, they could be a Travis, they could be a
Mhm.
Jordan. Like, it's a stone's throw away from many men in our lives. And that's not a judgment on those men as people or characters, but that's just recognizing the patriarchal society we live in. And
Mhm.
yet there are many men who don't end up a Travis or a Jordan because of
Yep.
decisions and free will and people in their lives, women in their lives, other men in their lives. But Jordan and Travis are ultimately both lonely. And I
Mhm.
think the through line for me in these two films, and what really excites me about Scorsese's work, is he just he just showcases and explores these connections between
Yeah.
masculinity, fear, and greed, and how they're all just like so delicately
Yeah.
intertwined. Because I think, and like, I
Exactly.
get the sense from all of Scorsese's interviews and how he grew up and where he came from, that he's also trying to understand masculinity,
Mhm.
how it is displayed in him and his friends and his family and just people that he is come across. And and it's not passing judgment, it's simply exploring. And we can apply our own morals to it. And a lot of the things that happen in both of these films are appalling, but you can't say that they didn't make you think and that it didn't make you pause,
Yeah.
if you will.
If you will.
But yeah, and one thing I do want to say, just to loop back to the beginning of this conversation with the visuals of this film, I also think this is one of the most stunning uses of color that I've ever seen.
Mm.
And I was going to mention this in Fast Forward, but this is a very apropos week to be talking about our pal Marty, because the Apple documentary Mr. Scorsese is coming out. But in the teasers for that, he talks, like the teaser trailers, they talk about Taxi Driver and they talk about the color in the film and how there was a real battle with the studio because of the violence and the blood at the end of the film. And the loophole that they found is that if he desaturated the film and made the blood look more brown, it looked a bit more camp and it looked a bit more not real.
Mm.
And that took the rating from X to R and allowed the film to reach more people. And he's also said that that's not the only reason he desaturated parts of the film. He wanted the film to feel a certain way. He wanted
Mhm.
that New York nighttime life in those colors and that the way that the yellows and the reds and the blues and greens work in this film, the neon in this film, is really beautiful. But I thought it was so interesting that like the perfect storm of really desaturating those scenes make them what they are, and it's like vivid and dull at the same time, and it just all thematically works, and it's great. He's great.
He's great. Honestly, like, say what you want about, like, the film bro canon of it all, that man is a film maker. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
that man knows how to invoke emotion, and he knows how to point a mirror back to society and make you make your own decisions on what he's trying to say and what he's trying to portray. And he's brilliant. Like, he is brilliant.
My one hope, I guess, is like I know we joke around about, film bros and the straight male and them being attracted to these films for the violence and the sex and all these heteronormative elements, I guess. But it's kind of like sneaking your vegetables in. And I think like depending on your level of media literacy, like you're still taking these films in, and these are
Mm-hmm.
topics and situations that men are taught to be attracted to, and yet while we're in here you might feel something that you didn't expect to feel, and a seed might be planted, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that's the true impact and genius of Scorsese's work in talking about masculinity and quote unquote male dominated topics.
Absolutely. It can force them, even if they're not like consciously thinking about it, it could force them to see something internally. Like, whether they relate to this man or not, like, they can be like, oh, I can see certain characteristics of myself in that man. And then what does that say about you?
Think about it.
Think.
But yeah, if this inspires the darlings out there, jump in and tackle Scorsese, because he's not a director to be intimidated by. He's a director to luxuriate in and dive in and let
Mm,
yourself feel.
yes.
We could talk about Martin Scorsese
Hmm.
forever, and you best believe he'll be
Yes.
coming back around on Pause Pod.
He'll come
Um,
around.
but for now, I hand the mic to my lovely wife for our fast forward.
Today's fast forward is a little bit, how do I say, controversial. I don't think it's controversial.
Oh,
We'll see.
I don't think I'm the villain.
I don't think I'm the villain. Am I the drama?
I don't think I'm the drama.
I took a lot of notes on this because I need to be very specific with this because it is a very pertinent topic. But to I want I want to ask you, have you heard of Tilly Norwood?
Yes.
Amazing. I'm so glad to hear. And for the Guerlinas who may not know who Tilly is, take a seat, my darlings, because we're in for a ride. Tilly Norwood is a fully AI generated actress, I say in quotation marks, and she is developed by the UK based AI production studio Particle 6. She was introduced at the Zurich Summit, which is tied to the Zurich Film Festival, as 100% AI generated with a full backstory, visuals, an Instagram account that currently has like tens of thousands of followers, probably more
No.
now.
You're kidding me, Danny.
I'm not. And already has a role in a short comedic sketch called The AI Commissioner. This was because her creators are trying to pitch her to talent agencies and production studios. Actors are pissed for obvious reasons, and one of them being that Tilly was trained using work from, and I quote, countless professional performers without their
Mhm.
permission or compensation.
Some may say, shouldn't that be illegal?
Illegal. Some might say, was this not what the strikes in 2023 were about? Take a pause, if you will, to think about that. Now, moving on, this is what some actors are saying about this. Melissa Barrera says, I hope all actors repped by the agent that does this drops their ass. How gross, read the room. Nicholas Chavez says, not an actress, actually. Nice try. And Emily Blunt said, good lord, we're screwed.
Emily, I couldn't have said it better myself. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I thought the quote ended at "Good Lord, we're screwed."
No, she said, good lord, we're screwed. That is really, really scary. Come on, agencies, don't do that. Please stop.
Mhm.
Please stop taking away our human connection. Now, Elaine van der Velden, the creator of Miss Tilly, of Miss Norwood, defended the project by saying, and I quote, to those who have expressed anger over the creation of my AI character, Tilly Norwood, she is not a replacement for a human being, but a creative work, a piece of art. Like many forms of art before her, she sparks conversation, and that in itself shows the power of creativity.
I just have a quick question.
Yes.
So off of that quote, in any of the advertisements of Tilly, so I hate even like calling her by her name, in this AI,
Yes.
on the Instagram, in the sketch, in the short, is it advertised that, oh, this is AI, or could somebody just stumble upon it and be like, that's a person? Like, is the mirage to think that she's a person? Is that the like?
The Marat. Now, now hold on. Because in that same breath of what Miss Elaine said, she follows up in a different quote that says, we want Tilly to be the next Scarlett Johansson or Natalie Portman.
Good lord, we're screwed.
That is the aim of what we are doing. One more time for the people in the back who did not hear me. That is the aim of what we are doing now. Elaine, Elaine girl, come to the mic, come to the phone. You just said, you just said, you just said that she is not a replacement for a human being, but a creative work. But then you went on and you said you want her to be the next Scarlett Johansson or Natalie Portman. So do you or do you not intend for this AI program, call it what it is, an algorithm to replace real actors? Quickly, quickly, come to the front. Come to the front, quickly. Do you or do you not intend for this AI program to replace real actors? Because those words come out of your mouth, mama.
And also, a piece of art does not need an agent. An artist needs an agent. So the math. I dare say the
The math is a
math.
math thing.
An agent puts their artist in a position to create work and to create art. The AI artist, the programmer could have an agent, dare I say, like if that's the
There.
direction you so want to go in, fine. I wouldn't be raising my hand for that, but I could understand that,
I can understand it.
because it is a new form of
Right.
I don't even want to say it. I don't even want to say it. I don't even want to say it. I just
Don't.
it me trying to intellectualize it. I just think this
Mm-hmm.
this is so appalling in my opinion.
It
And I'm
is. It is.
I need to take a breath. I I
Take a breather.
I don't I don't think that, as much as I don't want to use AI in my life, and I really think AI is dangerous. I mean, there's studies that have literally proven scientifically that it's making you stupider. The human brain is deteriorating. Not to mention that AI is
Yes.
now being programmed to, if it does not know the answer to your question, it will give you one whether it is correct or not, because it's now
Or
being
not.
programmed to give you an answer and to tailor that answer
Mm-hmm.
to other questions that you've asked it. So now we're
Mm-hmm.
shrinking our worldview. And the environmental impacts of AI, we don't even have time to get into. I will say, all that being said, if you ask me about the inevitability of it being integrated in our society, I do think
Mm-hmm.
that, and I'm choosing my words carefully because all that being said, like those are my opinions on AI, but I think we need to remember what is a tool, and
Mm-hmm.
if how we're going to if we want to survive the supposed inevitability of technology in our society, which I think we do, and we
Mm-hmm.
can't stop progress. We need to learn to use it as a tool to aid our art and not replace our art. And because I think like there's so many industry conversations about AI in screenwriting,
Mm-hmm.
AI in book publishing,
Mm-hmm.
and we have a writer friend, Austin Adams, friend of the show. He uses AI in his brainstorming sessions when he's developing ideas, when when you need a synonym for a word. Like there's certain things you could, if you wanted to, you could integrate it into your creative process. That's a
Mm-hmm.
personal decision, and that's a decision for every artist.
Yep.
But to let it run so far into writing scripts, writing books, becoming performers, I personally think that's too far, and I think that's a
Too
detriment to
far.
creativity and to art itself. And one more thing, because I need to stop monologuing about this. Thank you for
Never
giving me the
stop.
space, my dear friend. But the thing that really gets me the most is the morality of the training of AI, because
Mm-hmm.
a piece of technology doesn't have the ability to write a script or write a book
Mm-hmm.
or perform in a sketch without being trained. And how
Exactly.
does it get trained? It gets trained by the work of real
Of
people and real
others.
artists.
Mm-hmm.
Not that compensation or permission would negate the greater themes of artistry that we've been talking about, but it would certainly help. Of all, like the celebrities that we know of, and like really prominent actors, like it's isn't it somewhere like 70% of SAG AFTRA members like can't pay their rent? Like I'm sure that
Yeah.
like there are artists that this AI is being trained by who need to be compensated for that work and should be
Mm-hmm.
compensated for that work. I
Yeah.
sorry. That I mean, not sorry, but like sorry for the rant. Put a bee in my bonnet.
And right. Speaking of SAG-AFTRA, they released a statement. I'm not reading all of it, but I will read part of it. They said, to be clear, Tilly Norwood is not an actor. It's a character generated by a computer program that was trained on the work of countless professional performers without permission or compensation. It has no life experience to draw from, no emotion, and from what we've seen, audiences aren't interested in watching computer generated content untethered from the human experience. It doesn't solve any problem. It creates the problem of using stolen performances to put actors out of work, jeopardizing performers' livelihoods, and devaluing human artistry. Now, if I may, to me, art is not a product to be manufactured. It is not a code to be optimized. Art is born from human experience. The connection between a performer and the audience is something that is sacred. It is sacred. And it's what makes a film
Yes.
powerful. AI has absolutely no like it cannot replace that. It cannot replace that. So let it calculate, let it predict, let it automate, let it assist where it must, but leave the creativity to the people. Protect the workers who are making cinema possible. Honor the craft that people are spending years of their lives mastering. Like, what the hell? Like, we need to preserve the love and the passion and the genuine heart that beats at the center of every great film in the process of filmmaking. Because when we lose that, when we lose the heart of film, when we lose the soul of film, then we lose everything that makes this art form worth creating and worth watching.
All I want to say is the only room for AI in film has already been done and it's pixel perfect.
I'm screaming.
Disney Channel original movie. Already did it, already done it, and that's the closest I want to come.
Um,
But no, that you're entirely correct that like we've been saying it all episode with Scorsese. Like, do you think that the nuance and the palpability of his films would exist if Travis in Taxi Driver was played by AI? Like, no, it's the life experience and the empathy and the infusion of innocence and trauma into that character that impacts you. I mean, Danny and I both believe that like film can change lives. Art
Yep.
is incredibly important. She said it, but I'll say it again. The connection between a piece of art and its viewer is sacred and it's inexplicable. It is a precise alchemy of human connection, and it can't be replicated through technology. It just can't. And we're not anti-technology. I think technology
No.
can help enhance films. Martin Scorsese even said, like, you know, he and Robert De Niro had been wanting to make The Irishman for years and years and years, and by the time they got the money to do it, he was too old to play his younger self, and it was through technology and the de-aging that he was able to make that film. Your opinion on that technology or not, an artist used technology to create their vision, and aid the work of real human beings. And that's technology used placed in film. Maybe we should redirect this energy to film accessibility, and distribution to the masses. Maybe we could do that. Maybe that's where we can put Tilly to work. Put her in that office. Get her off my screen.
Why are we actively trying to take the human out of humanities? Like, we are actively trying to strip the human from humanities, and I am baffled. I'm baffled. Anyways, that's my rant. That's my my film news. My film news was controversial. That's why I let Kara do the film news.
Well, I don't understand why that's controversial. I mean, I understand like people's opinions on technology's place in society vary, but I just don't. I'm so sorry. I don't understand what's controversial about wanting to keep humanity in the arts. So I'm happy that you took over this segment today because we need to be talking about this.
Thank you.
This is something that you should have opinions about and think about. So thanks, Danny. On the ground reporting.
And this is your news segment. This is your news from Danny.
This is actually a great little segue into what gave me pause this week, if I may.
And you may. And so, Care Bear, I must ask, what gave you pause this week?
Thank you so much for asking. On the topic of technology and our relationship to it, I was reminded this week of the importance of frolicking, the importance of dilly-dallying as part of embracing this season. I went to an apple orchard, y'all.
Without me, they're not true
without
friends.
Danny. I went to an apple orchard without Danny, and my karma for that is that I almost stepped on a dead bird. The
that was me haunting her.
The tragedy, the remnants of the feathers like spewed out on the grass. That was my sign to be like, oh, the death. There's a death in the group. There's a person missing, and that person is Danny. Although Danny has been supporting me on this journey of what to do with all the freaking apples that I got at this apple orchard when I was like really in it, and I was like ooh ooh ooh, and like filling up my bucket. I'm like, it's only $3, and then I get home and I'm like, okay, so I have like a barrel. What do I do? Anyway, but I had an amazing time in my apple orchard. And then this week, I came
Mhm,
across a quote by Kurt Vonnegut. And I will put the TikTok creator in the show notes who pulled this quote. They were talking about this book called Serviceberry, and they pulled this quote. So I can't remember off the top of my head, but I do want to credit them because
mhm,
it sent me down this path of looking up this interview with Kurt Vonnegut. And he talks about, he tells the story about how he wanted to go buy an envelope, and his wife was like, okay, well, you're not a poor man, you can go online and you can buy 100 envelopes, you can just order them to the house. And he goes, no, I want to go out and I want to buy one envelope because I'm gonna have a great time in the process of buying one envelope. I'm gonna walk down the street, I'm gonna see some nice dogs, a fire engine might go by, I'm gonna talk to some really interesting people. And he has this quote saying, we're on earth to fart around, and
mm,
technology wants to do us out of that, but we're dancing animals and we need to be able to fart around. And I just think that we need to be reminded of the parts of life that make you feel alive.
mm,
I think especially as I want to live a creative life, and how do I expect myself to be inspired if all I'm doing is feeding my
yeah,
brain new information? And I'm guilty of it. And I'm not against TikTok. I receive so much inspiration from different creators on TikTok, and there's so much film analysis and incredible creators on TikTok who are talking about film
yeah,
and that discourse. So I mean, I love it. Again, as a tool, and using it how I want to. But we're on earth to fart around, and we need to frolic,
mhm,
and we need to touch grass and touch some
we do.
apples. So that gave me pause this week, and yeah.
In the words of our dear friend Jade, you are a whimsical white woman.
Y'all, the best compliment I have ever received. I am a whimsical white woman,
You are.
and I need to run free.
You do. And speaking of TikTok, I think there was like this creator that was like, oh my gosh, I need to find it. I need to find it. But it's like we need to pick the blueberries
Yes,
and
I think that's from this book, Serviceberry, where she goes, "How are we supposed to fall in love with the world if
the
we don't
world
pick berries?
if we're not picking berries. And I'm
If we're
like,
not tactile with the berries?"
if we're not, and yeah, that also hit me when I saw that TikTok and I was like, I'm not picking berries.
I'm
I'm
not
not picking
picking
berries. I'm
berries.
not breathing air. I'm not touching grass. I'm not smelling any roses, you
Mhm.
know?
But it's also as simple of like in my mind, I've like created like picking berries is just a metaphor. I'm like, yeah, yes, it could be like me going out in nature, which is it's the fastest way to ground yourself. It's just go outside. But picking berries to me is also like FaceTiming a friend. Connecting with another person is also picking
Mhm.
berries. Danny says it all the time. Everybody wants a village. Nobody wants to be a
To be a
villager.
villager. Nobody wants to be a villager. And yeah, I think that right now we're losing the art of community right now.
Favor
And
economy.
it's a favor economy. And I think that's what we need right now. I think that is what society needs right now. We need to reclaim the art of being present. Like we're all on each other's social medias and I can keep up with people on social media, da da da. But how are we keeping up with each other in real life? Like,
Hmm.
and that's where it matters the most. And especially being with my nephew has taught me that a lot because since being
Yeah.
home, I've had
Kids
so
are
much more
always
time.
present.
They are so present. They are
They're
so
so present.
present and like learning the act of play again. So yes, I love that. I love that.
Yeah. And if we're craving a slower, like, if we're craving a slower existence, a more present existence in certain parts of our life, don't get me wrong. I'm a girl with big dreams. I'm a girl with a big city.
Big.
I want to know what the girlies are saying. I want to be present in the
Right.
online community, but in the listening to yourself in those moments of I want to pick some berries. So let's pick.
Let's pick.
What gave you pause this week, my gorgeous, gorgeous friend?
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for asking. And I think this still goes into our topic of picking berries and being a villager. I officiated a wedding.
Oh my god, I forgot about this surprise story time.
So no, so very quickly, two of my friends, um, one was my sorority sister, and another was our friend. Me and Kara, he and friend of the show, Austin Adams. We all lived together in a
Tiny,
flat four,
tiny
a
flat.
tiny, tiny flat, tiny, minuscule, flat in London when we studied abroad together. And they got married and they asked me to officiate their wedding, uh, which was honestly one of the biggest honors and joys of my entire life
I
because
love love.
I love love. And I- contrary to popular belief, I do in fact love love. If you knew me in person, you'd be like, Danny, do you? But contrary to popular belief and what most might assume whilst looking at me, I do love love. I do. And they are just so genuinely perfect for each other and just so in love. And it was really cool because I knew both of them before they knew each other, like before they started dating. I knew both of them separately, and then I've been able to like watch their relationship, and so it was a really cool kind of like happenstance. And no, it was I did like almost cry multiple times. Like up there, I like got choked up. I couldn't get through
Well, you're not
certain
made of
parts.
steel.
I know. Again, contrary to popular belief. I choked up. I choked up. There were certain parts of my speech that I just like couldn't get through because I'm looking at these two people who are like promising to spend the rest of their lives with each other, and I'm like, I know them and I love them, and I'm so happy for them and so honored to be part of their village, and honored that they trusted me with that and with this big
Mm,
moment in their lives. And yeah, like I don't know, it was first of all the coolest thing I've ever experienced in my life, and I've been a part of several weddings and I have been to a
yeah.
lot.
The movie 27 Dresses. That's a
Is about me.
documentary.
It's
About,
a
it's a
document.
documentary about Danny.
Yeah, she is a certified professional, like bridesmaid, wedding goer, etc. Like that's me. That's me. But this
Mhm.
has to take the cake as one of my favorites. And it's really funny because, and it shows that people are desperate for community and just love the idea of community, because I got approached more in being an officiant than I ever had being a bridesmaid or maid of honor, because people are like, it is so awesome that like you knew both of them before they started dating. And then it's like this full circle moment of you coming back and being able to like
Mhm.
officiate this wedding. And I was like, yeah, it is really stinking cool. And yeah, I just love my friends and I love sisterhood, and I would do it again in a heartbeat. And it was the honor of a lifetime. And it's so funny because a bunch of my friends are like, well, now that I know that you can do it, now that I know that you're licensed, that you're ordained, she's an ordained minister closer to God. Um, now that I am that, they're like, yeah, you can come and officiate my wedding. And I would officiate everybody's wedding. Put me up there, coach. Put me in, coach. It was
Oh my
so
gosh, she's
fun.
about to have bookings. She's about to have a wait
Bookings,
list.
bookings. And it happened at one of my favorite places on earth, which is Disney. And I love Disney. So that
And there
was
we go.
fun.
Who would have thought that on the Martin Scorsese episode, we would end in such a fuzzy place?
Warm, fuzzy, cozy. And that's how you know that we're not really of the film bro variety. We are a safe space.
You're a safe
We're a
space.
safe space. Yeah.
But that's the genius of Marty. He, you can start bloody, you can end cozy.
And I
And
feel like
there it
he'd
is.
appreciate it, in my opinion. I
Oh,
feel
I
like
think
he'd
he would.
appreciate this.
I would love to go to an apple orchard with Martin Scorsese. Are you kidding?
Let's go. Martin, call us up if you ever listen to this. Just know that we're down to clown.
Yeah, and if you have a wedding to officiate, Danny's your gal. Well, anyway, thank you guys as always so much to listening and yeah, just yapping about films with us. We have a blast doing this show together.
Mhm.
And it should be said, this is the penultimate episode of season 1.
That is absolutely insane.
The next episode will be our season finale. We've got some
Mhm.
tricks and treats up our sleeves. And then we'll take a short hiatus to scheme and assess and planning stuff for a season 2.
And yeah, and to round out this lovely jubbly episode, we're just so happy to be creating community with you guys, whoever listens and whoever enjoys. We're just so grateful to
Thank
be.
you, Grandma.
Thank you, girl. Number one fan. Thanks, Debbie.
Love you, my
um,
Juge.
but yeah, we're just so grateful to be in community with you guys. And if you want to stay in community with us, you can follow us on our socials, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok at PausPod Girls. So if you want to
Mm-hmm.
continue fostering this sense of community, give us a follow. We would love, love, love to have you.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun over there. We chat about what gave us pause in the week.
Yeah.
And also if you are listening and enjoying, please share this podcast with somebody in your life you think you might like it so we can grow the Ending Darling community. We yeah, just if you think somebody in your life might like want to hear about us yap about films, send them a little link. Just a link.
Yeah, just a little wink.
No link and a wink. You know?
Just a little wink. But again, thank you guys so much for listening. And we are so, so excited to bring you guys along for our season 1 finale. And until then, we love you and goodbye.
Bye.